So one thing you guys might notice as you look at this is even though the geometry and these little recessed areas is all the same, the UV shells here are different sizes, and that's just because of where they happen to be relative to the camera when I did that little operation there. So we can definitely fix that downstream. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my symmetry. So we'll do Object X, and I'm just going to scoot this off and hope I don't forget. And I'm just going to go ahead and select that vert, and we'll go to Select, Convert Selection to Faces, and then I'm going to just use my Shift greater than to expand this out. I think we're going to do that. So there's going to have to be some break here in order to not get too much distortion. Well, that may not be true. This is one of those things where it's like you kind of need to just have some experience with this, but I'm a little bit concerned that that might be a little bit too much. Like as I'm laying this flat, it's going to get, that little space is not going to have enough room in the UVs, but we can try it. So I'll just expand a little bit further. And you can see, because of my expansion, now I've got this area down here. I don't actually want to mess with these, so I'm just going to deselect them. And then I'm kind of thinking about all the rest of this stuff. It's probably all just be one big section. So we're gonna try that, and if it doesn't work, we can always break it up a little bit. So I'm just going to select all of these faces, not that one. I'm going to hit the Q button to turn off the transform thing, which is kind of just in the way. You can see, I guess I'm getting a little sloppy with my selections here. And we'll just grab all of the stuff, because there isn't really anything in this area with a great big change in topology. Like from this side to this side, that's like almost a 90-degree bend, and there's not a lot of geometry there to support that much variation. We're going to have a seam somewhere in here, I think. Actually, I guess this is separate. Maybe not. Again, it's like we just kind of have to get in there and make our best guess, and then if there happens to be an untenable amount of distortion in the UVs, then you got to go in a different direction. So I think what I'm actually going to do with this little snippet down there is put it on this bottom area. It's hard to select that stuff. We're gonna have to put a cut in here, but I think this will still work out pretty well. And you want to have as few shells as possible with as little distortion as possible. That's the challenge. All right, so I got that whole section there. Go ahead and do another create camera based. Scoot this over a little bit, and then we'll do an optimize, some unfolding, some more optimizing. So what I want to make sure is I'm going to come in here and I just need to make sure there's actually enough space here in this geometry. Like if this was super close, that would be a little bit of a red flag that this operation wasn't actually going to be successful. But it looks just fine, and less is more when it comes to UV shells. Okay. So there will be some stuff that we can do to kind of make this a little bit more regular. You see it's just kind of trying to work all stuff out, but because these edges are actually vertical and horizontal in world space, we should be able to get something that's a little bit more consistent. And the more we can get like this edge and this edge to be mostly parallel, the better the UV pack will be. So that's kind of what we're gonna aim for down the road. And you can see very quickly, I mean, we just got this, I guess we've got to do this inside strip here. And we've got to add that stuff on the bottom. But you can get a lot of it done fairly quickly. Yeah, and all the stuff I'm just going to stick on this UV shell. So we'll go ahead and do another create by camera, and then optimize. So this is not going to pack very efficiently. It would be better. Well, I'm probably going to end up just sticking it on these inside faces here, but I'll need to break it at the bottom. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. Tap the Q key. So I've got those pieces there, and I want to basically connect them to this shell. So I'm just going to hold Shift. Whoops. Shift, and then we'll just run through that process again of create camera based, do an unfold, give it a little bit of a rotate. So now what I was saying with that square is I'm going to come over, grab this edge, which is right at the bottom, and we'll just cut it. And then I know that, well, let's see, where are we? I guess that's the other side. Right. So that's our open edge there between this UV shell and then our little one off there. So I'm just going to go ahead and say move and sew, and you can see the scales are off, so I'll just do an unfold. And now that's all resolved, and then I can come over and basically do the same thing here, which is to say select these edges. And if you have two edges on either side selected, it'll automatically weld the inside one, so we can just do another move and sew. And there's going to be a lot of distortion here, so we'll just do another unfold. So now that big sort of empty square is broken up, and those little tiny strip pieces are back on the larger shells where they belong. So that is certainly preferable. Okay, now I'm going to come over, tap the key, Q key once again, and we'll just get this area here. This is going to be a little bit of an odd shape, so we may end up breaking it. Just because there's going to be a giant empty space in the middle, but we'll do camera based, throw an unfold on there. So if I come over here and I cut those little edges, I don't know if Maya is smart enough to put stuff on the inside, but if I do this, it definitely will. And if this is also going to pack terribly, but if I cut those edges, now we have these tiny little strips, and it can kind of, put those anywhere. So I can't select them individually because I've got symmetry on. But all the stuff will pack much more efficiently than if it was all welded together. And just for the low cost of a couple of cuts there, which is worth it in my opinion. All right, so now we're going to go back to vertex, and I'm going to convert this to faces. Shift greater than to get all that stuff, and then we'll do it one more time, and then we'll just select the rest of our pieces here. And it may be that those little strips that we just cut off, we can actually just weld directly to this piece here, which will make a lot of sense. Tap the Q key. Oh, and I can see I'm at 10 minutes. I'm going to stop it here, and we'll pick it up in the next video.